Hi there, and welcome to Insomnia Insight number 408. If the audio isn't amazing, this is because my regular microphone isn't working. I'm going to buy a new one, but for now I'm just using the built-in one. Hope it's all right. We have a letter, a really, really nice letter from Sierra that I'm super happy to have the opportunity to share with you. And then I'm going to add some thoughts at the end of that, like when we read the letter. And I think what makes it so special, I'm always so grateful when anyone wants to share, what's going on with their thinking and their process, etc. But especially with Sierra here, I'm so grateful because Sierra has been a guest twice actually on the podcast. You can, for context, you can check out Talking Insomnia 46. That's where she shares her success story when she'd been working with me and she was doing really well. And then in Talking Insomnia 55, she shares that she had this speed bump. And shortly after that, she was doing really well again. And so with that in mind, you have a lot of context there if you'd like to hear some background. So again, I'm especially happy to be able to share this letter from Sierra. And I think that was it. Without further ado, let's jump in and read this letter, and then we shall go from there. So a few days ago, I got this email from Sierra. Let's read it. Hi, Coach Daniel. Hope you're doing well. Thank you. I am. I just wanted to let you know that I recently went through another speed bump and sat back and really wondered, what is it that I'm still not letting go of? Why is it that I still am having this weird hold? Why is this? What is this still having this weird hold on me that I can't get a grasp of? And what is it that would allow me to fully be okay with how I'm feeling? And then it kind of hit me that there's still resistance there. You're probably saying, duh, haven't you had this epiphany before? But to be honest, no, I haven't. I think I was still fighting and resisting even when I was sleeping well. I think my survivalist brain couldn't wait until I slipped up and had a bad night so that, as you say, it would say, see, you're not better, let's do something about it. And then I would go back to a subconscious fight with myself, resulting in up and down sleeping patterns. There was a moment where I would have to watch your videos or read a passage from you or Seth Stevens' book to fall asleep. It's a cycle I think I've been in where I still wasn't accepting of not being able to sleep some nights. Yes, even after everything I've learned. Something I read recently was doing things to feel better should not be the goal. Even if they are harmless, like watching your videos, reading self-help books, because it's temporary. The goal should be to work towards accepting even those things you don't want to accept. I sat back and thought, befriending wakefulness includes not only being okay with being awake, but being okay with everything that comes with sleep anxiety, fast heartbeats, sweaty palms and feet, racing negative thoughts, etc. Once those are accepted, you're really on a path to being okay with any outcome. And that's where the enlightenment begins. Once you get there, there will be no turning back. You just have to ask yourself, what am I fighting that's keeping me here? Ask yourself that, answer honestly, and begin working on your path to accepting those uncomfortable thoughts and feelings. This is the awakening that I needed. I think this is where my real journey starts. You've taught me so much about sleep itself and acceptance, but upon really putting it all together, I'm at a place where the practice of acceptance is one that I must do for myself. Thank you, Coach T. Thank you so much, Sierra, for sharing this. And there's so much wisdom in these lines, in my humble opinion. I think, first of all, I didn't write this one down before, so I want to say it before I forget it, which is that absolutely befriending wakefulness, that the idea with that is to go from, seeing being awake as like a threat and a danger to something that's acceptable, okay, maybe even something that could be enjoyable. But you're absolutely right. The concept of befriending really extends to all those things that we think of, or that the brain has been thinking of, I should say, as threats, like the jerkings, the weird vibrations in your body, the sweaty palms, like the palpitations, the anxiety itself, that feeling of anxiousness and all that discomfort is when we start to sort of befriend that, or even just observe it, just see it, without engaging with it. That is absolutely true. The concept of befriending extends really way beyond wakefulness. Absolutely true. And so I've, you know, to me, this is pure insight, absolutely. And I picked up like 3 sort of concepts that I thought we could talk a little bit about that I hope would be helpful here. One is the looking under the hood concept. And basically, you know, I think I'm going to do a separate video on this at some point, but what I have found not not infrequently is that I have a client or somebody on the YouTube channel who starts learning and fairly quickly starts sleeping better, and then sort of wants to just close the hood of the car, like, you know. The idea is that, you know, if you have a problem with the car, you open the hood and you look and see how the car's working, you understand it, and then you can, you know, do something about it. It's not a perfect analogy. There's some problems there, of course, but the idea is that if you're willing to take a look, that's really helpful. But if you kind of just, as soon as the car seems to be working, you just close the hood and that's it. Okay, I hope it works. It's going to work now. I don't want to look here anymore. I don't want to, you know, I don't want to look here anymore. It's uncomfortable. Oftentimes when you start looking under the hood, when you start exploring your own thoughts and emotions in the landscape, it can be overwhelming. So many things going on there that aren't necessarily that pleasant to see. So often, as soon as someone starts sleeping a little better, there can be this temptation, just close the hood, that's it, I'm good, and let's, you know, hopefully I'll never have to deal with this again. And you can see Sierra here is willing to look under the hood and really see what's going on the inside, which to me is absolutely wonderful. And I recommend it to all of us humans to do that, to be willing to see what's going on inside us, because that gives us choice and freedom, and we can proceed to do things like Sierra's doing, going towards a place of more acceptance and okayness. This is the other one thing I wrote down, which is I totally believe in this concept of acceptance. But what can make it tricky is that the word acceptance can seem to mean I have to be totally fine with this. I have to completely accept what's going on, whether it is like having like these racing thoughts or palpitations or like weird sensations or sleeping little or something like that. And so sometimes I think the word okayness can be helpful to see that I don't have to be like totally fine with everything that's happening, but I can be okay with it. I can move towards okayness, a state of like, yeah, this is not comfortable, but it's okay. It's just a little thought there that acceptance can feel a little heavy. Okayness can feel a little lighter, but both are really the same thing. And then finally, you know, what Sierra said towards the end there, that I've learned a lot about sleep, but I now see that there's sort of a path to a greater awakening. I so believe in this. I often think of, you know, what I teach as sort of just an entry point, that, you know, when you have trouble sleeping, that struggle with sleep can be sort of a little awakening. You can start learning about yourself, how the mind works, how you respond to things, how you try to have control over things we can't have control over, et cetera, et cetera. But there is a greater awakening there that can be had, so to speak, or can happen, which Andreas, by the way, from very recent episodes talking Insomnia 66 and 67, I believe it is, really has experienced. And I think that's, you know, that's where Sierra is heading as well, seeing that there's so many things in life that are uncomfortable that we really have no control over. And when we go towards like befriending them, being okay with them, okayness, then things just overall, life just overall becomes so much lighter and more peaceful and more enjoyable. So I just want to thank Sierra for this. Super, super helpful. And, you know, one other, you know, I forgot this before, but another reason I was so happy to be able to share this is that mostly when we have guests on the channel, it is someone who is sort of distant from the struggle, who's sort of left the struggle behind, and that's very, very helpful to have a guest like that. But it's also super helpful to hear from someone like Sierra, who's kind of embarking on that path, or for someone who's having some struggle, etc., so that anyone in the community here can see that, you know, before arriving at the place where you're sort of immune to insomnia or have that overall immunity towards like any struggle, whatnot, there is, you know, it's a process, and seeing that process is so helpful. So I'm extra thankful to Sierra for sharing this and coming on those 2 times that she has. So I'll end there and just say thanks to everyone for tuning in, and I'll be back with more soon. Until then, take care, everyone, and thanks for